Hello, this is Al. I hope you can hear me good because it ain't been a good day, ain't been a good week, but I want to thank everybody that subscribed and everybody that's watched my videos and any comments that were made. Um, yeah, uh, I'm going to rant for a second and then we'll move on. I try not to be political past the fact that I am. But I think the New York State governor's election was rigged. And there's no getting around it. If it smells like shit, it's shit. And I question how a country can find a $1 billion Powerball winner in 5 minutes, but they can't count votes in a freaking 3 days. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And then to put on top of all that disgust of the crap that's happening in this country right now and the bullshit, I went downtown today, clear my head. I'm trying to get the hell away from politics forever because I think there's too many dumbasses out there for me to even try to reach anybody else. I look at the demographic for the assholes that actually voted for these pieces of shit. And they're old people. That figures because most of them only watch CNN and they're dumber than a goddamn box of rocks from the ones that I've talked to. Very young people that think they're entitled to everything. Can't keep a job, don't want to work a job. They'll apply their little X for anyone who'll give them anything free. Disgusting. And throw in the rest. Mommy and Daddy was always this way, so I've got to be. I don't have to use my brain every time I go to get gas or buy eggs or realize that all the scumbags that are in the park are the illegals that got dumped off. Don't even get me started. But one of the things that really did it for me today, I walked into an establishment in my hometown, and the cash register person is now wearing... One day, it's all it took. One day of morons being back in power. And she's wearing a sticker that says, I'm a she, I'm her. And I look over and there's another idiot and he's wearing, I'm a he, I'm a him. I said, what is that? And she says, so proud of herself. That's my pronoun. I'm sorry. But if you're so stupid, you can't just look down and figure out you're a female. And that other asswipe with all the freaking studs in his face, I couldn't tell what the hell he was anyway, so he has to look down just to tell himself every once in a while he's still a guy. There's no place for us, guys. I'm not saying you got to go back to the 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s, but my God. We look stupid to the rest of the world. Very stupid. And as a country, we're the worst state to probably there exist because we're dumber than a box of rocks because we allow the cities that have the highest crime to have any say about anything. And all the people who live in the country, they just want people leaving the hell alone. And they can't do that. We've got crime everywhere. Which brings me another point. You steal something, you deserve exactly what you get. I hate thieves. There's no getting around it. I hate bullies. Dealt with lots of them, not going to deal with them anymore. When I was in my job, I saw lots of really cool signs on the gates, on the doors, on the barns. And there's always that one that said, patrolled by Smith & Wesson, all those things. I loved the one that said, don't worry about two big dogs. Worry about the owner. He's a Vietnam vet. Now, I don't care what kind of vet you are. If you're a vet, you know the code. You don't like people taking things from you. You don't like bullies, and you sure as hell don't like thieves. So, yeah, that's our world. And no one has a right to take that away from us or tell us anything. They didn't serve. All they did, from what I can see, is become fatter and stupider. And there you go. All right. Sorry about that, but that had to happen. I feel a lot better. How about you? Now we'll go to what I moved. I told you I moved. I moved to a farm. We got to the farm, and very old farmhouse, 420 acres worth of woods and farmland and fields and road and driveway and lawns. And for a kid, it was paradise. It really was. Although you weren't going to see your friends anymore that mostly always just got in trouble with you. But boy, the first day, my grandfather sat us down and told us we had chores to do now. Chores! Woo! You know, you haven't lived as a kid until you've been on a farm, and you get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, sometimes earlier, and you have to go to the barn before you can eat and before you can get ready to go to school. And of course, our school bus only came in the summer. In the winter, it just hardly never come at all because the snow was 5-6 feet deep in the road. And where we lived, you didn't just get up the road whenever you wanted. So we kind of, well, they call it homesteaded it, I guess. Graham was really good at that. And we basically, she got cows. Not too many, I think 10 or 12. And she got pigs. That's quite an animal. Goats? No, for kids, that's not good. Don't turn your back. I can't tell you the amount of times that I turned my back on a goat and ended up with my face in the mud. Chickens. Now that is an animal in itself that you got to give it respect because we love what it does for us, the eggs. But I got to tell you, have you ever tried to take an egg away from a chicken that didn't want to give it up? And then go to school afterwards realizing what you just went through? And in the summer, the bales of hay that we put on a wagon after Gramp did his thing with the tractor, they weighed more than we did. We still had to get them up on the wagon, and we had to take them in, and we had to pull them off the wagon and drag them, me and my brothers and my sister, drag them up and put them in the hayloft. We didn't have any of these cranes. We didn't have any of that. We didn't have any of that stuff. We had a tractor. By the time I was 11, I was driving the tractor. We fished sometimes. We had Graham's property was the whole end of the road, the whole thing, all the way down both sides. And it had a lake, a giant pond on the bottom, and she owned all the way around one side of it. Had more fish than you've ever seen. They boiled on the top of the water, little baby catfish. Never saw a big catfish all the time I ever fished there. Well, you could catch things, you didn't need any bait, just throw in the hook, and they jumped on it. That was fun. We tried to learn to deer hunt when we were older. Tried to small game hunt. The railroad tracks ran at the back of her land. Of course, it ran almost right through her land, and she basically, we would go up and down there all the time and to see what was going on. If remember this was a long time back. You didn't have four-wheelers then. You didn't have dirt bikes, snowmobiles. In fact, I don't think I saw a snowmobile when I lived up there. Saw them when I moved. So we learned to play by ourselves as the four kids. Grandpa used to leave a radio on in the barn, and sometimes we'd just go in the barn when we had time off and just listen to the radio. The first year, this was a farmhouse, and it had like a potbelly kind of stove in the bottom. And this day, I can't remember where we got the wood or if we even used wood. I don't know. I can't remember, to tell you the truth. But she had the same thing in the kitchen. Hey, I'm back. I just got a phone call. Okay, where was I? Yeah. Well, anyway, couple things that were really cool about the farm was that we had to walk to school, and it toughened me right up. I mean, it toughened me right up. I mean, it made me ready for the Army, or made me ready for working as a farm kid. But the first year was wild. We didn't really have time to prepare, and I don't guess nobody even knew, but in this farmhouse, basically we had 3 bedrooms upstairs. I don't know where the 2 boys were in one. I think the girl was in one. Maybe she was with mom. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I had my own room. I was the oldest grandkid, the oldest kid. And all was a bed. I don't even remember I had a dresser. Probably didn't. But here's the funny thing. It started snowing really bad, right? And something was wrong, because as I was laying there, I could see the snow come right through the roof and then just cover up my blanket. And in the night, it must have kept right on snowing, because when I woke up in this morning, I had like a half a foot of snow on my feet. And I yelled for my mom, and she came, and she was mortified to see that there was all this snow in my bedroom. Come to find out that nobody had ever put the lasts that go down the cracks of the wood for the walls in this farmhouse. They probably never used upstairs. I don't know. But anyway, the snow was coming straight through. I didn't want to think about the rain. But anyway, got up, and obviously everything was the same. Went to the chores, got on the school, come back, and Grandpa had a whole bunch of pieces of wood about this wide and about 5-6 feet long. And we nailed them up over those cracks in my room, all around, just so the snow would not come through. And I always thought that that is something most kids would never, ever, ever experience. Well, that was kind of cool. In my window, in my room, because there was only one on that side of the house, we had 3 plum trees with great big plums, purple plums. I've never seen them since. And we had all these grapes that grew over these, they looked like, it looked just like lattice and wire that the previous people had put up, and they were all these grapes. And we have 2 apple trees, so hey, this was new for us. We didn't have this kind of stuff other than stealing pumpkins. We don't know much about fruit. So, I mean, we could eat as many grapes as we want, or as many pumpkins as we want, and Graham would make pumpkin pie. I mean, not pumpkin pie, I forget that. I guess apple pie. And she did things with the peaches, I'm not sure, or the plums, I'm not sure what she did. But anyway, it was really cool. And the other thing was that somewhere about 11 years old, I was out. My grandfather and my grandmother owned this farm. They basically, of course, they were helping mom and us kids out a lot. But they decided they were going to go into a land bank, and I'm not even sure why that was. By this time, the cows had shrunk down. There weren't that many cows because nobody could really take care of them. We were too young, and Gramp just didn't want to. And there was the pigs, chickens. There are lots of chickens left yet. I'd already got into it with the kids at school that always picked on me, and that's why I hate bullies to this day. But finally, after a couple of kicking them in the groins, that's what farm kids do, by the way, they kind of left me alone, and it just made me an outcast, and that's how I stayed for all the time I was in school. And if I should forget, I want to tell you, is they wouldn't let me graduate with my class, although I had honors, because I had long hair, and Mom never said I couldn't do it, and the Beatles are out, and the Rolling Stones and stuff, and I really loved that, so let my hair grow long, and of course, that didn't go over with the school, so they tossed me out of school, and then Mom went down and got really angry, and I went back into school, but they informed her I couldn't graduate with the graduating class because, first of all, I had too long a hair, and second of all, because I was driving my own car by this time to school, but I was living on a farm at the time. We had moved again. But can you imagine that in today's world? I was in Vietnam and all I could think about was they wouldn't let me graduate with my own class. I couldn't stand up there. And by the way, to this day, I never got a diploma. They never bothered to send it. Different time, different age group. My mom didn't care anymore. I didn't care anymore. And I said to hell with them all and never got along with that town ever since. And that's the reason why. So all that. And after I came back from the war, I was sitting in the park and some people walked over and asked where I've been. They didn't bother to send me any of the other veterans who always got the Norwich newspaper or the Oxford newspaper or Shenango County or who the hell knows. But anyway, I never got anything like that. So that was the reason why. Because they didn't care. Thank God when I was in Vietnam that I had a wife, a little 17-year-old that cared. Of course, I was only 19, so, but hey, what are you going to do? At some point, I was actually mowing hay with the tractor at 11, 12 years old, and I found out for the first time, happened many times in the war, blah, 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 that I was susceptible to the sun. I never met anybody since, but that's me. And I'm up there mowing along with a sickle blade behind me, and the grass was falling down. Because remember, we were in the land bank, and you had to cut your hay down, but leave it. You couldn't sell it. You couldn't use it for the cows. What kind of a stupid government would do something like that? I don't know. They're as dumb today as they were back then. But anyway, we took and we were doing it. I think Gramp got enough money to pay for his taxes or something probably. But anyway, we were doing it. And I'm cutting the hay. And going along on a tractor, I think it was an old case, if I remember right, with a hand clutch. Gramp insisted I learn to drive it, so I did. I'm out there by myself. That was not unusual at all in our little world. So all of a sudden I look up and I see the whole ground, everything in front of the tractor is turning into diamonds like this. I didn't know it, but the sun was getting to me. And the next thing I woke up, I'm on the ground and the tractor's tire is right up against the side of me. And the tractor's still running. And Gramp and a couple of brothers probably, maybe Mom, were looking down at me. And everybody's freaking out. Last thing I remember before those diamonds is I reached down and pulled the clutch back so that the tractor would stop. And I must have fallen right off the seat. Because when you are susceptible to sun, you go out. Some people don't come back. I did come back, and I was lucky. A couple other times it happened, I was lucky. But anyway, that happened to me. Probably didn't help my brain any, because my brain ain't that good now. But anyway, that's what happened, and that was the Al on the farm. And a lot of other things cool happened. We went up in the hayloft and we made wooden guitars and nylon strings, and we'd play our guitar and we would think we were the Beatles, and my brothers and I were the Beatles, and we would play in the hayloft, and my grandpa would come up and he'd sit on a hay and he'd say, "You think that's going to make you money someday?" And we'd be singing along Beatles songs, and I'd say, "Gramp, I'm going to do this someday. I'm going to make money. You'll see." And he laughed and he went back downstairs in the barn, and I did. I went for it. And you can too. What's the philosophy for today? Well, when everything points to the fact that you could be successful, you got everything to win, and you really don't have anything to lose by trying, then try with this thing called positive mental attitude. And I've had to live that positive mental attitude all through 27 years of martial arts, all through military, all through the insurance company I work for, my whole life. When my kids were sick, and soon I'll be telling you about my son, who was the greatest person in the world, how he got sick. But a positive mental attitude is something you can do for yourself today. Just go for it. Till the next time, please subscribe, hit the yes button, and put in the comments. And hit that bell so you'll know when I'm on here again. Thank you.